Austin isn't emptying out, but something has changed. If you've spent any time online lately, you've probably seen headlines about people moving away from Austin, that the city is too expensive, too crowded, or not what it used to be. And honestly, some of that conversation didn't come out of nowhere. But here's the problem. The headlines don't tell the full story, because while some people are leaving Austin, a lot of people are still moving here. And the reasons on both sides are very different. What gets lost is who is actually leaving, why they're leaving, and who actually makes sense for Austin. So in this video, I want to slow this conversation down just a bit and talk about what's really going on. Not the clickbait version, not the hype, but the reality I see every day working with buyers and relocators here in Austin. Because depending on your lifestyle, your budget, and your expectations, Austin still might be a great move, or it might not. And that's exactly what we're going to break down. If you haven't met me yet, my name is Shannon and I'm a realtor here in Austin. I've lived in Austin for decades now, and over the years, I've worked with local buyers and sellers and relocators who have considered making their move to Austin either for job, lifestyle, you name it. And that's exactly why I want to make this video, because the conversation around Austin right now is very polarized. You've got one side saying Austin is over, the boom is done and everyone is leaving. And you've got the other side saying Austin is still the best place to live. Nothing has changed and everything is amazing. The reality is, like most things, it sits somewhere in the middle. Every single week, I talk to people who are excited to move here, some who feel priced out, and others who are sitting quietly wondering if Austin is still the right place for them to live. So this isn't theory for me. It's based on real conversations and real decisions that people are making right now. Here's how I want to break this down. First, we're going to talk about the biggest reason people say they are leaving Austin, and that's cost. Not just home prices, but an overall affordability shift that some people weren't expecting. Then we're going to talk about expectations versus reality, especially for people that moved here during the boom and thought Austin would feel a certain way long term. After that, I'm going to explain who is actually leaving Austin, who's staying, and who Austin still works really well for, because that part almost never gets talked about. And finally, I'll share why, despite all the headlines, people are still moving to Austin every day. This isn't about convincing anyone one way or another. It's about giving you clarity so you can decide what makes sense for you. When people talk about leaving Austin, the first thing that usually comes up is cost. And this is where I think a lot of frustration really starts. Because Austin didn't just get more expensive, it got more expensive fast. For a long time, Austin sat in the sweet spot. Compared to places like California, New York, Seattle, it felt affordable. You could buy a home, enjoy a great lifestyle, go out to eat, and still feel like you aren't constantly behind. But over the years, that math has changed. Home prices jumped, property taxes stayed high, insurance costs went up, and everyday expenses followed right along with it. And for a lot of people, especially those that moved here thinking that Austin would stay cheap, that shift was hard to adjust to. I sometimes hear people say things like, if I'm gonna pay this much, why am I here? And that question makes sense, especially for those people that don't own yet or who bought recently and now feel stretched. Austin crossed a threshold where it stopped being a bargain city and started behaving like a major metro without everyone adjusting to that mentality at the same pace. I also see this a lot with people that moved here during the peak years. They bought or rented at the top of the market, locked in to higher monthly cost, and now, with interest rates and taxes layered on, they're definitely feeling that pressure more so than someone that would have bought a long time ago and who's been here longer. And here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. Cost isn't just about housing, it's about lifestyle expectations too. If you moved to Austin thinking you were gonna get big city opportunity, small city pricing forever, The gap between expectation and reality can feel very disappointing. And for some people, that's the moment they start looking elsewhere. Not because Austin is bad, but because it no longer fits the financial picture that they had in their head. That doesn't mean Austin is suddenly unaffordable for everyone. It means the margin for error is smaller. The choices matter more, and not every version of Austin works for everybody's budget. Thinking about relocating to Austin or the surrounding areas? Well, I've got just the thing for you. My team and I have taken the time to create the ultimate relocation guide, which is meant to save you hours of research, and I've linked it down below. From top employers to the best hospitals and a boatload of other things you might need to know before making the move. And the best part is it's 100% free. Just click the link in the description or the top pinned comment. I hope that helps. Another big reason that some people end up leaving Austin is not about money and more to do with expectations. A lot of people move to Austin during the boom years with a very specific picture of what they imagine Austin to be. They imagined live music everywhere, an easygoing lifestyle, lighter traffic, friendly people, and a city that felt exciting and manageable. And the truth is, Austin still does have a lot of that, but it doesn't always look the way people expected it to once they're living here day to day. I see this most with people who moved here quickly, sometimes without spending much time in Austin beforehand, or moved here during a very specific phase of life. What worked in your 20s or during a flexible remote work season doesn't always feel the same 5 or 10 years later. And there's also the reality that Austin grew up fast. Traffic increased. Popular areas got busier. Some neighborhoods that felt quiet and tucked away feel different now. And if you're someone that moved here chasing a version of Austin the way it was 10 or 15 years ago, that mismatch can be disappointing. I hear people say, I thought Austin would feel smaller. I didn't realize how much driving I would be doing. Or, I love the city, but I don't love the way my day-to-day life is feeling. And none of that means that they made a bad decision. It just means that their expectations didn't fully line up with reality. This is where Austin becomes very lifestyle dependent. Where you live, how far you commute, what you value day to day, and how much patience you have for growth all matter more than they used to. For people who came here expecting Austin to be frozen in time, the adjustment can feel frustrating. And for some, leaving isn't about disliking Austin. It's about realizing that they want something different than the city can actually offer them today. This is where the conversation around people leaving Austin usually goes off the rails. Because when you hear that phrase, it sounds like people packing up, leaving Texas, and moving far away. And while that does happen, that's not what most people are doing. What I see far more often is people leaving Austin city limits, but staying very close by. They're moving to the suburbs or in nearby communities where they can get more space, newer homes, or simply a better overall value without completely giving up their connection to Austin. For a lot of households, this isn't about rejecting Austin. It's about recalibrating how close they live to it. When you move just a little farther out, the math often changes. You might get a bigger house, a bigger yard, new construction, or a quieter neighborhood. Sometimes you'd be paying the same price or even less than what you pay closer to the city. That is especially true for people who love Austin for their jobs, their friends, or what the city has to offer, but don't necessarily need to be in the middle of it every single day. So when you see headlines about people leaving Austin, it is important to ask, are they leaving the city or are they leaving the region entirely? Because those are two different stories. Austin, the city, has felt pressure, especially with affordability and density. But the Austin metro as a whole is still growing. It's just spreading outward instead of focusing tightly on the core. And that's not unique to Austin. People don't disappear, they redistribute. Hey guys, I'm Shannon Green, and as much as I love making these videos, there's one thing I love more, and that's helping families and people from all over make the move here to Austin. I've helped countless people make the move, so whether you're coming out next week, next month, or next year, don't hesitate to reach out. My contact information is right here on the screen, and it's linked in the description in case you missed that on-screen pop-up. And I look forward to helping you and your family make the move to Austin. Another reason people end up leaving, or at least seriously questioning if Austin still fits, comes down to lifestyle burnout. Austin grew fast, and for a lot of people, the pace of that growth started to feel tiring instead of exciting to them. What once felt energetic starts to feel crowded. What felt spontaneous can start to feel inconvenient. And little things like this can add up over time. I hear this especially from people who moved here during an intense season of growth. At first, everything feels new and fun, but after a few years, traffic, planning ahead, higher cost, and busier spaces, all that can start to wear on people, especially if their day-to-day life doesn't actually require for them to be in the middle of it all. There's also a life stage piece for this too. What works when you're single, child-free, or working a flexible schedule doesn't always work the same later on. Priorities shift. Quiet matters more, spaces matter more, and convenience starts to mean something different. And that's when people start to feel restless. Not because Austin did something wrong, but because they changed. This kind of burnout doesn't mean someone failed at moving here. It just means that the city that once fit perfectly may not fit the same way forever. With all that said, this is the part that often gets overlooked, because despite the headlines, despite the cost changes, and despite some people choosing to move a little further out, people are still moving to Austin every single day. And the people that are happiest here are usually very clear on why they're coming. They're not chasing a myth or a version of Austin from 10 years ago. They're choosing the city as it exists today. Austin still offers strong job opportunities, especially in tech, healthcare, education, and the creative spaces. It still has a culture that values individuality, outdoor living, and community. I see this with people relocating from places where the cost is even higher, or weather, congestion, or pace of life feel unsustainable. When they come to Austin with realistic expectations, they often feel relieved, not disappointed. So this isn't a story of Austin being over. It's a story of Austin evolving. And like any growing city, it works really well for some people, less well for others. Now for the question of the day. For those of you that are thinking about making the move to the Austin area, where are you coming from? And what's the main reason that you're leaving your current area? I'm truly curious, so make sure that you let me know in the comments below. I want to hear what you have to say. Also, if you have any questions or thoughts, you can leave those in the comments below as well. Or even better, you can call, text, or email me. My information should pop up on the screen. So if you take anything away from this, the conversation about people leaving Austin is a lot more nuanced than the headlines make it sound. Some people are leaving the city, some people are moving a little further out, and some people are realizing Austin no longer fits what they want. And that's okay. And at the same time, plenty of people are still choosing Austin very intentionally. Austin isn't failing, and it isn't frozen in time either. It's a growing city that's changing. And whether it works for you all depends on your lifestyle, your expectations, and your budget, not the noise online. If you're thinking about moving to Austin and staying here long term, or even leaving and trying to sort through what actually makes sense for you, that's where having clear information matters. I help people do exactly that. Whether you're relocating to the state, moving within the Austin area, or just trying to understand your options, I would love to help you sort through it all. Don't forget, I have a free relocation guide linked below. And if this video was helpful, feel free to like it, subscribe, and drop a comment below. And if you'd rather talk one-on-one, feel free to call me, text me, let's schedule something, and let's talk about your specific scenario and how I can help you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.